Cliveden House, spectacular, once the home of Waldorf and Nancy Astor. A property infamously associated with the Profumo affair. With its formal gardens and colourful seasonal planting, the celebrated parterre with its breathtaking views, and an outstanding collection of sculpture and statues. But there's a side to Cliveden that not so many people know about. A side hidden by the passage of time and the growth of foliage. This short video lets you into a few secrets that lie waiting for you to discover. The traditional gardens at Cliveden are a reason to visit in their own right, but let's take a look at the estate as a whole. The countryside areas surrounding the house include the ancient woodlands, the river and its frontage, and the parkland areas. The estate covers 368 acres, the woodland and parkland areas comprising just under 300 acres of this. The countryside areas are part of a designed landscape, and the whole site is designated as a registered historic park at Grade 1, recognised to be of exceptional or international interest. There is no doubt that the view of the Thames Valley from Cliveden House is stunning. But by taking a walk to the Duke of Sutherland statue, or down to the river, you can see a different aspect of the house. Or did you know that the 4.2 acres of land at Maypole Hill is a county wildlife site which hosts an abundance of species?
Maypole Hill is a piece of chalk grassland which is really unusual on the property. In summer it's a particularly good place to visit and to move away from other parts of the gardens because you'll get a really good show of wildflowers, lots of insect activity, lots of bees, lots of grasshoppers, loads of wildlife, and you'll be able to see something that's different to other parts of the property.
If natural history is your passion, take yourself off to some of the quieter corners of the woodland. Sit and wait and you may see a multitude of creatures or bird life.
Cliveden is a very special landscape. It supports a great diversity of species and habitats. One notable species found here was only discovered a few years ago, and that's the Cliveden snail. Brought here when they imported the Borghese balustrade. It's only now known to be found in 2 sites in the country. It's not an invasive species, not affecting anything else, but it has become quite notable at Cliveden. Tonight I'm here with some colleagues and we're going to be surveying some of the structures around the terrace for bats. We've recorded about 10 species of bats here over the last few years.
As the year moves on, the true colours of Cliveden come to life. A project that is ongoing at Cliveden is the rebuilding of the original round garden, which was first documented in 1874. It's circular in design, with 4 radial spokes coming into a central hub, which were laid out with 225 hoops, with a pair of trees on each hoop. The round garden must have been amazing in its heyday and is a unique surviving form of circular fruit garden.
This is certainly a place worth visiting. It's a bit off the normal beaten track, but if you were to come here, you'd at least see the potential of the project. It's a nice quiet corner. We hope to return to the former Victorian glory.
Take a trip down to the northwest side of the estate and you will see the Russian Valley. Once a wetland habitat with ponds and streams, it's now a dry valley, other than the small pond at the top. In the 19th century, this area was developed as a garden landscape, and some elements of the garden planting can be seen today. The area retains a semi-natural grassland character and is used at certain times for grazing livestock. It's interesting to have a look at this area and imagine how it once was.
If you're a visitor to the more formal parts of the gardens, you can have a nice walk down here and just get a good view of the landscape. Where we think that the design of the landscape included Russian Valley as a sort of a visual icon, if you like. So it's designed for you to have views down it and across it. So as a visitor, you can come have a look and get an idea of what those 18th century designers had in mind when they planned this landscape.
Few can fail to be astounded by the sheer size and majesty of the giant redwood tree, Sequoia giganteum. Found in North America and Canada, the species is the record holder for the largest single-stemmed tree. The biggest is called General Sherman and stands 84.8 metres tall and weighs in at a massive 2,000 tonnes. But imagine cutting a section from one of these trees in America and transporting it back here. Difficult enough now, but back in 1897 it was a near impossible feat.
The sequoia ring is a real gem. The background story is the Astor family had a bet that in their native America that they had trees there that were so large that you could fit 40 people around comfortably and have dinner. And of course somebody must have said, oh yeah, I don't believe that. And anyway, duly the bet was laid down, and in time this piece arrived, and indeed they did have 40 people sat around and having dinner. Just imagine what it took to get that thing here, that huge piece of wood, from extracting it out of its original setting in the woodland, to transporting it then to a port, to putting it on a ship, and then the reverse this end in getting it onto transport, and then finally, after all that effort, finally having to get it right to the top of the hill of Cliveden is just a monumental feat, I think, really, of sheer determination, brute force, and sweat and tears, I should imagine.
But enough of these land-based activities, let's take to the water. Cliveden Reach is one of the best stretches of semi-natural riverside on the Thames. It's the principal reason for Cliveden's location. Spring Cottage is a building with a strong connection to the legendary Profumo affair, as it was rented by Stephen Ward. It was also described in Jerome K. Jerome's book 3 Men in a Boat. You can hire boats, take river cruiser trips, or even moor your craft while you come and look at what Cliveden has to offer. Coming back onto dry land, overlooking the river are the hanging woods. These woods grow on a chalk cliff, which this far inland is a very unusual geological feature.
We're standing at the top of the hanging woods. You might wonder why it's called a hanging wood, and that's because it's such a steep slope on the chalk, some of the trees are literally hanging off. Believe it or not, the reason the slope is so steep, and we've got this steep chalk cliff here, is that the ancient River Thames has cut down through the chalk.
The hanging woods were previously heavily wooded with beech, but during the severe storms of 1987 and 1990, some of the trees were blown down. The area has now been left to recolonise naturally. Green Drive is the longest formal avenue at Cliveden. At one end is Susan's Wood picnic area and the woodland car park, so you don't have to walk from the car parks near the gardens to view it. The avenue was laid out by Charles Bridgman in the late 1700s.
Green Drive stretches on for over a mile past here. And of course, right at the bottom then, you're straight into our ancient woodland, which is just fantastic. I mean, full of beautiful trees, all sorts of fauna and flora, well worth discovering. If you've come to Cliveden and never had a look before, I really recommend that you take the walk down Green Drive and come down into the ancient woodland at the bottom.
The Flint House is a late 18th century or early 19th century flint grotto, and once would have been visible from the parterre. It's the only flint building at Cliveden. If you're feeling a bit more energetic, 10 pieces of fitness apparatus made from forest materials have been built in the old pheasantry for people to utilise as part of their regular fitness regime.
The woodland workout trail it's just a great facility really. Obviously in the open, sometimes in a gym, you can feel a bit claustrophobic. The great thing about Cliveden is that it's on the doorstep of some major urban areas, Slough, Maidenhead, but yet you're here in the fresh air, almost quite rural.
Phew. If you'd like to relax and take more time to see what the estate has to offer, Cliveden has holiday cottages available to rent. New Cottage and Ferry Cottage are situated next to the river in a quiet location. A stunning position to relax and unwind. So there you have it. Cliveden, not just a house and gardens, 368 acres of things to do, full of natural history, full of natural beauty. Get out there and explore it.